You said when somebody says no to you, it has no relevance to your
No
reality.
relevance.
What do you mean? Tom Hanks once said about you, he really knows how to get talent, how to interest them, how to get them involved, and how to please them. What do you do?
Well, you try your very best to match the skill of the actor, which there might be 1,000 traits the actor has, or 100 traits, but only one is their superpower. So it's you find that exact superpower and you say, that superpower is realized or actualized in the role that's written. And that, you try to match that. And that's hard. And then it's just making sure that the actor is always utilizing and operating with that superpowers. I mean, I will sublimate myself completely to get the best work out of.
Well, and that's what I heard too, like just some of the extraordinary lengths you've had to go to, you know, play into the actor's
let's say
needs.
Tom Cruise, who I love to work with. He has the greatest work ethic known to man. With him, I immediately had the intuition to shift the power I have to give to him. I said, basically, we need a role model, we need a team captain, knowing that theoretically that's supposed to be me. Would you be that? And he goes, absolutely, I'll do it. And then he does it. And his power is leading the charge. And there's no one better than him leading the charge. You know, there's some actors, you know, an Oscar-winning actor that I had to listen to him play music all night. I would have to, just a lot of intolerance.
How about the most difficult situation you ever encountered with an actor and how you worked your way through it?
Well, that might have been this Jim Carrey on the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Because he's a genius. His genius was being completely suffocated in this epoxy suit he had to wear that took 5 hours, 6 hours sometimes to adhere to him, to be the Grinch. But he was determined to do it until he had to put on these contact lenses, these big frisbees on his eyeballs to make his eyes green, because he was a stickler for authenticity. And I said, we could do it digitally. No, I'll wear that thing. And then one day he said, I quit. This is killing me. This is torturous. And I'll give all the money back, and I will give all the money back plus interest. I just can't do it. It's too torturous. And so I thought, would you give me the weekend and decide on Monday? And he said, I'd do that. And I knew a man that worked for the State Department that trains, you know, how soldiers can survive torture. And CIA, FBI, Navy SEALs. I say, I'll pay you, come out here, spend the weekend with Jim Carrey. He did, and then Monday Jim Carrey says, I'm in, I'll do it. It was amazing.
So you're trying to sell the movie Splash. You've been trying to do so for years. Tell about what happens with the executive who told you, go away, lose my number, never call me again.
She said, get out, lose my number, never come back. I came back.
Well, here's the thing about Brian as a producer, a superpower of his, is that he is creative enough to not only interact with fellow creatives, but also really empathize and understand, you know, sort of what they need to hear, what they need to feel, what they need to believe in order to engage with a project and say yes.
I mean, she said, and she used to tell people like around me, not to me, said, I tried to get rid of Brian Grazer. I'd throw him out the door, he'd come in the window. I'd throw him out the window, he'd come in through the chimney. He'd come in, threw him out the chimney, and he'd come in through the pipes and the plumbing. He was just, couldn't stop it.
And you said when somebody says no to you, it has no relevance to your reality.
Relevance.
What do you mean?
It's just, Someone says no to me, it's just a temporary point of view. That's it. And it's not personal. I take other stuff personally, but I don't take no personally.
But he's tireless, and he doesn't believe that all no's can be reversed. He has very good antenna for, where there's a real no, it's absolute dead end. And he's pretty good about cutting the cord and not pursuing that anymore. He's good about, he's not chasing windmills. He can hear a certain kind of a no, and he just doesn't, that's just not the way he hears it. He hears it as if circumstances were different.
If I love something, what I'm loving is not the story, because the story are pieces, parts to the engine that can be changed. But when I love something, I'm loving the heartbeat of what it is. And the heartbeat is the authentic voice that lives in your soul, or my soul.
To what extent is there a situation that comes to mind that he had to move mountains to make something happen? And do you remember specifically what that entailed?
The one that I thought really made us partners, and sort of demanded a kind of longer working relationship, was the Gauntlet of Splash. I could sort of see some value in it, but I wasn't overwhelmed with excitement about doing a mermaid movie. And I finally got on the phone, and he said, we have to take it to Disney. And I said, Brian, you know what Disney's most recent movie was that was put, theatrically released? He said, what? I said, Gus the Field Goal Kicking Mule. That's the last movie that Disney. Before that, it was Love Bug 6. And he said, look, the budget number's right. They really love it. If I can get confirmation for you, will you accept that? And I said, if you can really get confirmation that, that she can be topless, I said, I remember saying, we'll never see her breasts. I can make sure the hair covers it and so forth. We just can't have a bathing suit top on her. It's really a non-starter for me. Well, he went in and he wound up having to have a meeting with the board of directors of Disney. And he sold them on my vision and his of why Disney had to make this movie this way. Well, they said yes to it, but here's the really bad next step. Legendary kingpin of producers and the studio system, Ray Stark, then called up Brian Grazer and said, we have competing projects. Why don't you join mine? And I'll pay you $1 million and you can co-produce mine. Brian turned down Ray Stark to make Splash at Disney. So it was an absolute its own kind of, fairy tale. The screenplay was nominated for an Academy Award. And it was a tremendous feat by a producer